Me, 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 me. A legend. A legend. Get up. Oh, not now, Trixie. Legend, you promised Trixie we would do an early morning recording session. Remember? You said to start doing that more often now. You used to do this all the time when we first started. Yeah, Trix, but that was about 8 years ago, girl. I'm getting older. Fine. I guess Trixie will just have to look at all this beautiful imagery of Sally Acorn she found. Wait, what? Flip you, Trixie. Episode 22, here we go. Sandra awoke while there was still an hour before sunrise. She turned the wrong way in her sleep, and the pain in her back had flared up with a vengeance. Once seeing in pain, she rolled over carefully, trying to find a more comfortable position. Sighing, she sat up. Her sleep that night had been fitful at least. The pain didn't bother her much, unless she moved wrong. She arched her back, trying to stretch out the muscles until they stopped hurting. When she felt them loosen, she relaxed and laid back down. It was Christmas Eve day on Mobius, but she didn't have much time. If she didn't do it today, it wasn't going to get done. She sat up again and rolled out of bed. As soon as she was standing, the reformed crystal raced around her back. This should help some, she thought. I just better leave before everyone wakes up. She looked around and saw Tails asleep in a chair next to her bed. He must have come by during the night to keep an eye on me, Sandra reasoned. That's just going to make this much harder to sneak out. She got her clothes together and went into the bathroom to dress. A few minutes later, Sandra walked out of the bathroom adjusting her vest. She picked up Nadia and secured her to her boot. She got on her knees and reached under her bed for a robotization gun she had hidden there. She had a little trouble standing up as her back almost gave out. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea, she thought. Sandra pulled on her coat and started to step outside when a noise stopped her. Sally was starting to stir, and Sandra held it perfectly still until her sister quieted down. Having nearly an inaudible sigh of relief, she tiptoed out the door and silently closed it behind her. She walked carefully through Knothole until she reached the bridge, then ran off at supersonic speed, as to not wake anyone with a sonic boom. Tails awoke suddenly, startled awake by some unknown thing. Sleepily, he turned his eyes to Sandra's bed to check on her. It took a moment for her to fully realize she was no longer in her bed. Sandra? Tails asked. Where are you? No answer. Tails had saw Nadia was also gone. Damn her! He muttered. Aunt Sally, wake up! What? Sally asked sleepily. Tails, what are you doing here? Sandra's not in her bed, he said. So he tells me she snuck out to do something. Sally sat up, now awake. Okay, you check around and see if anyone's seen her. I'll go join you as soon as I can get ready. Gotcha, Aunt Sally! Tails flew off, heading straight for Sonic's hut. Sally watched him go inside. I hope he's not doing anything stupid, she thought. Tails burst into Sonic's hut. Sonic! He yelled. Get up! When Sonic didn't move fast enough, Tails grabbed his mattress and forced him off the roughly. What's the big idea, big guy? Sonic asked, rubbing his arm. There's a fire or something? Sandra's missing. I need you to help me find her. Calm down, Tails, Sonic said. She probably just went for a walk or something. In her condition? And in this cold? Yeah, you're right. Okay, you fly around and see if you can find her. I'll ask the Night Watch if anyone's seen her. Thanks, Sonic, he said and flew off. Man, Sonic thought. I've never seen him this intense. Either he knows something or he fears something. I don't know which is worse. Sandra slowed down as she neared Robotropolis, coming to a stop at its border. She took Nadia from her boot and opened her up. Nadia, Sandra said, finding a comfortable place to rest. See if you could access Donovan's computer. What for, Sandra? Nadia asked. It's too risky to get the location of his parents from Robotnik's computer. You mean Knuckles gave you the okay? And just when were you going to let me know this? I just did, didn't I? Numbers started flaring across Nadia's screen at an alarming rate. What are you doing? Sandra asked. Seeing if I can override my programming against foul language. Keep it up, and we'll just go right back to Naho. All right. Making contact now. At Donovan's main base, an alarm started sounding. You are attempting to access unauthorized data, the computer told Nadia. Cease or desist, or consequences will follow. Chill out, computer, Nadia said. It's me, Nadia. You're still trying to access unauthorized data. Please cease and desist now. But I need this information, Nadia said. Isn't there any way for me to get it? You can't get it without authorization. Authorization code Omega 349er, Nadia tried. That is not the authorization code. Nadia tried other codes that she had obtained from Donovan, but they all had the same result. SATAM procedure initiated. The computer said, Wait, Nadia yelled, but the computer sat down. Great. Let's try this again. Nadia reestablished the link and began her search anew. You were warned, Donovan's computer said. An electric charge was set over the link as the computer tried to scramble Nadia's circuits. Nadia started to charge with no obvious effects. Can we be reasonable about this? She asked. I have my orders, the computer said. I can't let anyone get any information without permission. And to try mess up the computer that tries, even you. So please stop trying to access. If you want, you can contact Donovan and get his permission. That's exactly what I don't want, Nadia grumbled. This is supposed to be a surprise. Donovan hates surprises, observed. He liked the one I gave last year. You know, the one with your voice. And he appreciates that. Is there no other way to get the information? Preferably one without letting Donovan know when I'm getting it? Only if it's an emergency, so that I can override his codes. Does returning his parents still qualify? Nadia asked. Donovan's computer paused. I tried accessing the information, it said eventually, but it appears Donovan has a personal lock on it. All I could do is give you the general area. That's not good enough. The communications link was silent as Nadia tried to come up with another idea. What about Fiore's old files? Does he have anything on Donovan's parents? Searching. There are some journal entries regarding Donovan's parents. Are they left out? Negative. I'm sending the information now. Good luck, Nadia. Nadia sorted through the journal entries, looking for the information she needed. Fiora had kept detailed accounts of everything that had happened with Donovan. She found what she was looking for quickly enough, but also found something else. Donovan had been affected far more than she ever thought. It had taken years for him to accept what had happened and accept his new role. And even then, he never stopped hoping he could one day rescue his parents. I never knew, Nadia said softly. What was that? Sandra asked. Nothing. Displaying map now, Sandra, Nadia said, subdued. Sandra studied the holographic map before her. Of all the places I expected to be, this was not one of them. She thought, plot the safest course there. Don't you mean the shortest? No, I don't. And make it swing by the trash area. I need to look for something. Whatever you say. A red line appeared on the map. Sandra memorized the route and closed Nadia up. She adjusted her backpack and took off slowly down the route Nadia indicated. Sonic was on his way over to check with the night watch when he heard a loud crying coming from his parents' hut. What the? He thought, running toward the hut. Everything okay? He called, banging on the door. Race opened the door, eyes only half open. Sonic, what are you doing here this time of night? It's almost morning, Dad, Sonic said. I heard someone crying and came to take a look. Maurice sighed and opened the door all the way. Your baby sister has a good set of lungs. Sonic, it's a baby. What were you expecting? Sonic walked in time just as see Patricia picking up Kelly from her crib. Don't worry, Sonic, Patricia said, trying to soothe Kelly. She's either hungry or needs her diaper changed. Oh, Sonic said, looking down. Sorry about that. Don't worry, Maurice said, yawning. Fact is, I forgot how hard these early morning wake-ups are on the system. Excuse me, Patricia said, carrying Kelly to the bathroom. I think Kelly needs both. I'll be going now, Sonic said, backing out of the hut quickly. As he backed out, he ran to Uncle Chuck. Sorry, Unc, he said, speeding away. I got something to do. Where's he going in such a hurry? Uncle Chuck wondered, picking himself off the ground.
I better get used to being flesh and blood again. It hurts.
Sonic ran to the border of a knothole, where Bunny and Antoine were standing watch.
Hey, you two,
He called out to him.
are you seen Sandra?
Sorry, Sonic, Bunny called down. I ain't seen nothing to that.
Is he nothing to bed?
Antoine asked. Sonic shook his head. No one seems to know where she is, and Tails is getting really worried. Willie and Circle 20 will keep a lookout, Bunny promised. Sonic nodded, sped off, looking for someone else that might have seen where Sandra went. Sandra slowly made her way towards a room where Nadia had said Donovan's parents were hidden. Can't you go any faster? Nadia urged. Not with my back hurting, Sandra said through gritted teeth. What happened to your back? Nadia asked. Don't worry about it right now. We got something to do. How much further till we hit that room? 50 yards or so. But Robotnik has cameras all around the area. It'll take some time to deal with them. Can you do it without him noticing? Maybe. But it won't give much time. Sandra slowed to a stop at the edge of the hallway. Get to it. Keep me updated on your progress. You got it, Nadia said, then fell silent. Sandra slumped against the wall. Her back was hurting her almost as bad as it had yesterday. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea, she thought. She took the metal tube shaped like a Y out of her backpack and fitted it to the nozzle of the gun. She formed 2 crystals and secured them into both branches of the tube. I'm only going to have one shot, Sandra said to herself. Better make it count. Tails paced impatiently in the war room. Where is everyone? He demanded angrily. Calm down, Tails, Sally said. Everyone's just waking up. Tails started to say something, then angrily bit it off. I'm just really worried about her, he said. Is there something you're not telling me? Sally asked. Tails shook his head. I have a bad feeling about this, that's all. Sonic burst through the door. No one's seen any sign of her, but we're going to go look for her. Tails ran outside and saw that most of the knothole had gathered. Thanks, everyone, he said. Don't worry, Tails, Dulcie said. We'll find her.
Yeah, Ryder said. I might be able to come up with something that could track her by her power bracelet. Already made one, Ryder, Uncle Duck said, holding up a small handheld device. As near as I can tell, she's still in around knothole. It doesn't have the power range very far. Oh, okay, Ryder said, looking down. Rotor, it's time we find you a boyfriend. How long will it take you to be mold with them? Nadia asked. That long. How many will you need?
I say about 4 more. We'll split into the 5 groups and find out. Good idea, Lydia, Tails said. I'll take this one and get going. I'd rather you didn't, Sally said, coming out of the hut. You need to cool off first. But Sally! No buts. Dulcie, you take this one and fly around. Gotcha, Sally, Dulcie said.
Mind if I come, Dulcie? Rotor asked.
Climb on. Uncle Tuck gave Rotor the tracker and he and Dulcie flew off. Stay away from Robotropolis, Sally called to them. We don't want to give Robotnik any reason to claim an emerald. But what if she's there? Tails asked. As far as I know, she has no reason to be there. I will go see Tannis, Rosie said. Perhaps he'll be able to locate her. Can I come on? Isabella asked Lydia. If Rosie doesn't mind. I'll be glad to have some company, Rosie said, picking up Isabella. Split up into your groups and wait for Uncle Chuck to finish, Sally said. As soon as you get a tracker, get going. She wants us everyone decide who we're going with, smiled. Sandra had made many friends in Knothole, a big difference over last year. It made her feel good to see how much they cared about her sister. But that remark Tails made was still on her mind. What if Sandra had gone to Robotropolis? No, she told herself. Sandra would know better than to risk upsetting the race. Sandra changed position for about the 100th time, still trying to get comfortable. Any luck yet, Nadia? She asked. I'm almost done rerouting the signals from the other cameras to these ones, Nadia said. Let's just hope you don't know the difference. Whenever you're ready, Sandra said, standing. And it's saying signal transfer. Wish me luck. Sandra stared off at the cameras and sighed in relief when the red lights went off. Good work, Nadia, she said, walking towards the door. Any security measures on the door? Already taken care of. Only get bomb deactivated subroutines now. Sandra smiled. I don't know who's more excited about this, me or you. Well, it was my idea, Nadia said, her hologram smiling wide. I'm still seeing her as a teenage lynx. In the command center, Robotnik suddenly stood out of his chair.
What was that?
He demanded.
What was what?
Melsock asked.
The monitor. It flickered.
I didn't see anything.
I'm telling you, it flickered. Now run a system check at once.
Very well, Metalsonic said, typing away at the keyboard in front of him. He saw Nadia had done and smiled.
It was only a power surge for one of the generators, he said. It caused the camera to short out momentarily. How's the SWAT bots look into it? I just want to make sure you're not covering for your old boss. I know what would happen if I were,
Metalsonic said angrily.
See that you remember.
Sandra closed the door behind her quietly. She stood for a moment, looking at the two robots. Sandra could definitely see their resemblances, but something was off. The more she looked down, the more she couldn't help but feel there was more to this. Nadia, scan robots to get schematics of the bombs, she said, putting her doubts aside for the moment. Already working on it, Nadia said. Should have the specs in. What's wrong? Sandra asked since Nadia fell silent. I could deactivate the bombs, Nadia said slowly, but there's a problem. What problem? Sandra asked, growing concerned. It's not a problem, really. I just don't see the need to do it. What? Sandra asked disbelievingly. Why not? Because the only thing inside those robots are bombs, Nadia explained. There's no circuitry or anything to suggest they were ever alive. You mean they're not Donovan's real parents? Exactly. Looks like we'll have to access Robotnik's computer after all. Where's the safest place to do that? Nadia projected a holographic map that showed a marked route. I don't think anyone will notice us in here. Sandra closed up Nadia and ran out of the room, not heeding the pain in her back. For a few moments, he came to the room Nadia had indicated. She opened the door. As soon as she saw where she was, she opened Nadia and yelled, You brought me to his bedroom? Can you think of any other place he wasn't expect us to be? Nadia cowered. Let's see. Robotnik's bedroom. Yeah, there's the dartboard with Sonic's face repeatedly shot, burnt off. A plushie of Sonic with his head ripped off. A plushie of Sally with a hole in her. A picture of Cream with a little heart around her. All. A picture of Omelette also with a heart around her. All. Pictures of his daughters. A picture of Vanilla with the words, Sunday we'll reunite. I'm sorry, I just love that running gag and that joke I found, surprisingly. In that one fic I found. It's just too silly to stop passing up. Let's see. Ooh, what are these files? Project Shadow. How to find. Probably nothing. Use password Maria. Oh, well, whoever that is, I hope that they won't affect the Project Shadow too much. Sandra grumbled something, but was clear she agreed. She hooked Nadia up to the computer console in the room. Look for anything on the real location of Donovan's parents, she ordered. Give me a second. No security codes. Wonder why. Wait a minute. This isn't the main computer. This is Robotnik's journal. You're kidding, right? Nope. I'm already writing the search. Maybe you wrote about it. In fact, here's something now. It needs any playback.
Personal entry.
Robotnik's voice sounded over Nadia's speaker. Sandra couldn't laugh at how silly it sounded.
I have met with the young Osoya today, and he's more of a master than I expected. Added in the fact that Fiora is training him, and he might become a problem if I wasn't prepared. It was rash to kill his parents as I did, but...
What? Nadia screeched, cutting off the playback suddenly. Tell me I didn't play that right. Double check it.
It was rash to kill his parents as I did, Robotnik's voice came again, but I could not risk simple roboticization. The use of the machine before my takeover may have altered the king to its existence. That may have made things harder. As it is, I had the foresight to produce replicants of them as a bargaining chip against Donovan if he ever showed up. I cannot harm him, but I am certain that he cannot harm me. In fact, he just may help me on occasion. I call it a victory and entry. Sandra just stood there, stunned by the news.
Bloody almighty, she whispered. Everything was a lie.
Everything is lies.
Sandra, Nadia began. Donovan has to know about this. You're right. We'll head to his main base. If he's not there, we can find him. Okay, let's get... Hey, wait a minute. Nadia, whatever it is, I don't think... I'm picking up Chaos Emerald energy, and it's strong. An emerald? Sandra asked. Where? Dee-doo, 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 dee-doo. Wow, you're right. It's flashing bright red and everything. It's right here. Gotta love those emerald hunting missions on Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. They were some of my favorite parts. Well, that and playing the Sonic levels, the Robotnik Machine levels, the Tails Racing levels, the Shadow levels, the Tails Machine levels. The point is, I love Adventure 1 and 2, okay? And to make sure that none of you ever trust my opinion on video games ever again, I prefer Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 over Super Mario 64. Yeah, I do. Bite me. I prefer Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 over Super Mario 64. And I love it. Of all the places to hide it, he hid it under his bed. Sutter couldn't help chuckle at that. You know, to be fair, who wants to head to Robotnik's bedroom? She got down on her knees and fell under Robotnik's bed. Her hand brushed against something small and hard. I think I got it, she said, pulling it out. Sandra stood up and opened her hand. Inside was a large gray Chaos Emerald. The Emerald of Life, Sandra exclaimed. We got the Life Emerald. You know, personally, I would have made the Gray Emerald the Wind Emerald. And would have made the Life Emerald the light blue one. Kind of to offset everything. You know, red for fire, yellow for lightning, green for earth, dark blue for water, gray for wind, dark purple for shadow, and light blue for life. But that's just me. Alarms blaring all over Robotnik's command center. In your bedroom, Metalsonic said, activating the camera outside the door. Robotnik yelled in anger as he saw Sandra leave the room holding a gray emerald. All SWAT bots, he yelled in his communicator. Get the emerald back. Use whatever force is needed. Sir, there's another problem, Metalsonic said. It seems that while she was in there, she accessed your personal files. Which files were accessed? Robotnik asked, his voice low and menacing. A journal entry regarding your first meeting with Donovan Osoya. She could ruin everything, Robotnik muttered. All SWAT bots, do not let that hedgehog escape! Sandra carefully made her way towards the edge of Robotropolis, unaware that Robotnik knew she was there. She tried to hurry, but her back was steadily getting worse. I hope Donovan could do something about this, she thought. Laser fire erupted around her. She turned in surprise and saw 10 SWAT bots firing at her. Just time! She yelled, drawing on her power bracelet for energy. She felt the power fill her and took off in a supersonic boom. But before she got 200 feet, she collapsed. What gives? She thought, picking herself up. The bracelet was fading. Oh, great. I have power. She tried to run off, but the pain was too great. Just as she took the first step, a SWATbot's laser struck her flush in the back. She screamed in pain and crumpled to the ground. Nadia and the Emerald went flying from her grasp and landed some feet away. Nadia was aware of everything that had happened, but powerless to do anything. Sandra, get up, she pleaded. But Sandra was not moving. Nadia couldn't even be sure she was still breathing. Nadia raised her laser, but she was facing the wrong way for it to do any good. Her sensors told her that the SWAT bots were closing in. There's gotta be something, she thought. Then she noticed that the Emerald had landed on top of her. She could feel the energy coursing through her circuits. Though afraid of its power, she was more afraid for Sandra and started to draw in the power of the Emerald. Robotnik watched from his command center as the SWAT prone form of Sandra.
Take her to a holding cell until I can decide what to do with her, Robotnik said, and bring that emerald to me.
May I remind you that you can't really do anything to her? Metal Sonic said.
I know that, Robotnik said, his eyes glowing an angry red, and I won't. However, her injuries may do the work for me.
Interesting loophole. I just hope you won't get in trouble for shooting her in the first place.
Robotnik was about to answer that when the commotion on the screen caught his attention. A female squirrel had arrived. Okay, considering that this is Nadia, I'm just going to pretend it's a lynx, and for you guys' sake, you better too. A female lynx had arrived on the scene and was wrecking any SWATbot that came near her or Sandra.
Who is that?
Robotnik demanded. And where did she come from?
Sensors indicate she just appeared,
Metal Sonic said, confused. Oh, she came in with Blaze.
Send more SWATbots to deal with her. Too late, Metal Sonic said.
As Robotnik watched, the strange lynx scooped up Sandra and ran off.
Blast!
Robotnik yelled, smashing his fist into a computer console.
Which way are they heading? Towards the Forbidden Zone,
Metal Sonic said, consulting his scanners.
Shall I pursue them?
No. So you won't find any help out there, and the Great Forest is in the opposite direction. We'll let them fend for themselves. Sandra moaned softly as he was carried out of Robotropolis. The lynx who carried her looked around. I know it's around here, she muttered, heading deeper into the Forbidden Zone. Lightning flashed all around her, though no thunder could be heard. She kept running until a large building that looked like as if it hadn't been used in years. But she knew better. Somewhere in that building was the help she searched for. She ran up right to the door and burst inside. The lynx leaned up against one of the walls, breathing heavily and shivering. She kicked the door with one foot. Lights on the screen, 3 walls suddenly flared to life and trained on her. The lynx squinted in her eyes, tried to adjust. You are an unauthorized intruder, the familiar voice said. Leave or say the password.
Computer, it's me, Nadia,
the lynx said. Impossible. The computer said, Nadia is a computer. You are not.
Never mind that now. Sandra's been hurt badly.
I repeat, leave or password. Nadia gritted her teeth as half of the lights began to glow red.
What about Donovan?
She tried. You have been warned. Lasers began firing at her. Nadia took cover, using her body to protect Sandra.
Deontay, Nancy, Tanis, Nadia, Fiore,
she called, trying every name she could think come to mind. At the mention of Fiora, Nadia heard the lasers powering down. She risked peeking out from where she was hidden. Password mentioned, the computer said. Voice powering confirmed. Entrance granted. Nadia sighed in relief and stood on sticky legs.
I should have guessed he used that for a password,
she muttered. She walked out into the open.
I wasn't lying about Sandra. She was shot by a SWATbot and needs help badly.
The computer went silent for a few seconds. Bring her to the medical room, he said finally. Follow the lighted hallway. Nadia hurried down the hallway and came upon a pure white room with a single bed in the center. She laid Sandra gently down on the bed and stood next to her worriedly. Light came on out of the nearby console and traveled the length of Sandra's body. This is not good, the computer said.
What?
Nadia asked. She has some severe damage to her lower back. The crystal seed diffused laser blasts, but also made it affect a larger area. There is also some serious damage. I can help her some, but I have to contact Donovan to do the main things. Nadia nodded and almost fell. You look tired, the computer said.
I guess I am, Nadia admitted. It's weird feeling tired.
Go through the west door, then the second door on your left. You'll find a bed there that you can rest on.
All right, and thank you.
She stumbled down the door and into the room the computer told her about. She fell into bed and was asleep almost immediately. Donovan shivered against the cold of the polar caps. He spent the past 2 days searching for the final hidden emerald with no success. He was cold, miserable, and ready to give up, but the alternative was worse. I'll find that emerald even if it kills me, he thought.
He pulled his trench coat closer around him and turned toward another hill, just as his communicator started beeping. I thought I told you not to contact me for another 3 days, he yelled at his computer angrily. Donovan, we have an emergency, the computer said simply. Sandra is in very critical condition. She's in the medical room at the main base. I can only do so much. You'll need to finish the settings manually. Donovan put his hand to his head and sighed. Is this going to be a yearly thing? He wondered. Very well. Teleport me back to base. Teleporting straight into the medical room. Donovan closed his eyes against the light as he teleported. As soon as the light died, he opened his eyes and rushed to Sandra's side. Fill me in while I'm working, he told the computer, throwing his trench coat in a nearby chair. A few minutes later, Donovan walked into his main computer room and sat down heavily in his chair. I'm surprised he was able to get here in her condition, he muttered, wiping his brow. Hey, Donovan, you found a computer room. Hey, at least I didn't say that this was the 4th damn Chaos Emerald. Totally worth it. Actually, she was brought here, the computer pointed out. You mean someone else knows where this base is at? Where is this animal? In your bedroom, but I must warn you. In my bedroom? He asked, standing. Well, time to find out who this is and how they found out. But I ought to tell you, the computer began as Donovan headed towards his bedroom. Later, Donovan said, opening the door and walking inside. Fine, the computer muttered. Find out for yourself. Donovan stood by the foot of his bed, staring at the figure in his bed. He had never seen her before, but he was sure of that. She looked like to be about his age, or maybe a bit younger. She had gray fur with lighter tones on her face. Her hair was a soft brown that fell down her shoulders. As she had curled up under a blanket, it was using her tail as a pillow. Oh, so beautiful. It's beautiful, he thought. However, she is a stranger. He drew his sword and walked around the side of the bed, placing the point of it at her throat. Right inside, Sleeping Beauty, he said, prodding her gently. Nadia opened her eyes.
What?
She asked sleepily. Who are you, and how did you get here? Donovan asked. Nadia looked down for a second, forgetting where she was, and even that she was alive. Then it all clicked back in.
Donovan!
She exclaimed, pushing the sword aside, sitting up, and hugging him around his waist.
I am so glad to see you.
Donovan stood there for a moment, looking at her, stunned. Then he grabbed her hair, pulled her head back, and placed the blade of his sword against her throat. I asked you some questions, he said. I expect some answers.
Hey, ow! Hey, let go, schoolboy!
How did you know to call me that? Donovan demanded. Nadia looked at his face and for the first time realized he didn't know who she was.
It's me,
she said. You must think I'm some kind of fool. Do you not think I know the difference between a computer and a lynx? Nadia looked at herself.
Great,
she muttered.
I'm a lynx girl.
So? Lynx girls are like number 3 on my most beautiful type of anthros I would love to make out with. Number 1 are foxes. Number 3 are lynxes. And number 2 would have to be other wolves.
Honestly, Trixie's afraid to see your Mobian self.
That, my dear Trix, is a secret. Donovan arched one eyebrow. You better start talking now, and I want the truth.
Donovan, it's me. Don't pay any attention to what I look like. Listen to my voice. Trust me, please.
Donovan looked away from her and thought about her voice.
I'm telling you the truth,
she said. Donovan's eyes widened, and he looked at her. 18? He said, letting go and dropping his sword. Nadia nodded, looking right at him. Donovan took off his shades and stared into her eyes. What happened? He asked slowly.
Sandra and I were in Robotropolis, she began, then caught her breath. Sandra! I almost forgot. Is she okay?
She's okay, he said. The computer should be working on her soon.
I'll be done in a couple of minutes, the computer said.
I want to see her,
she said, throwing out the blanket and getting out of bed. Donovan's jaw dropped as he noticed for the first time that she was not wearing any clothing. C cup, nice. Brown nips, I'm okay with this. A very nice area down there. Cute little bobtail. I approve. Zzz. Taser. Taser. Pew!
What is it? What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong, Donovan said slowly, admiring her well-formed body. Nothing in the least. I just think you better get some clothes on.
What?
Nadia said, not understanding. Then she looked down at herself and blushed, her entire body turning pink.
I guess that was a part of the deal,
she muttered, grabbing the blanket and wrapping it around herself. Oh! Do you have to cover up the nudity? But no, Nadia, it's kind of transformation rules. 9 times out of 10, when you go into a new body, if it's not a G-rated material, you're going to be naked. Please see Last Unicorn, Fall Starfleet, Sailor Moon, when Luna turned into her human self. So many series. So many shows have this tendency to do that. Unless you're G-rated, then you just magically get your clothes on. It's why it's okay for Twilight to have clothes on once she goes into her world, into the human world. Snap out of it, Donovan, the computer said, "You're letting flies to your mouth." Donovan shook his head a few times. He walked unsteadily to the corner and opened his closet. "Put these on," he said, throwing a pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt to her.
Thanks,
she said, dropping the blanket and struggling into the clothes. Donovan quickly turned his head, blushing to himself. "You could have waited until I left the room," he said.
Oops, it's just that everything's so new to me. Okay, I'm decent.
Donovan turned to look at her. The sweatpants fit her well, but the sweatshirt was a little tight around her chest. And I'm not seeing the problem. I think you're decent, he said, looking her up and down. Nadia blushed again, smiling.
Thanks. You know, it's different seeing you with eyes instead of senses. You really are handsome.
Donovan looked down, a little embarrassed. Anyway, you better go check on Sandra. I'm going to call Knothole and let everyone know she's here.
Okay,
Nadia said, sliding out the door.
I'll see you later.
Donovan took a deep breath and sat down on his bed. This is going to be fun, he said softly. Don't say it, he warned his computer, anticipating a smart remark. Oh well, the computer said, contacting Knothole. I assume you want me to contact Princess Sally? Yeah, Donovan said, walking out of the room towards his computer. Sally flew along next to Tails, still searching for Sandra.
We've looked everywhere, she said. Where could she be? I don't know, Tails said, but I'm not going to rest until I find her.
Sally smiled. She was about to say something when Nicole started beeping.
Incoming message for Donovan,
she said when Sally opened her up.
Wonder what he wants,
Tails muttered. Put it through, Sally said. Hello, Sally, Donovan said. Donovan, we're really busy at the moment. Unless this is important. Would this have anything to do with the whereabouts of a certain hedgehog? Donovan asked, cutting her off.
You know where Sandra is? Tails asked. Where is she?
Before I go any further, I should warn you she had a mishap at Robotropolis.
What?
Sally and Tails asked together. Appears she went into Robotropolis for some reason. Robotnik didn't like her being there, and she ended up with a laser shot in her already injured back. She's stabilized at the moment. However, she'll have to stay here until she wakes up. Which will be sometime tomorrow morning. Donovan's computer interjected.
Where is here? Tails asked.
At my base, where else?
That's all I need to hear.
Tails flew off so fast, the shockwave nearly forced Sally to a treetop.
Tails!
Sally yelled, but was almost out of sight already. Donovan, if Tails knows where your base is, I think you can expect some company. Donovan frowned. Computer. Already on it, the computer said, allowing a minutes of miles per hour. Nadia, Donovan called. I suggest you move.
What's going on?
She asked, coming to the doorway in the main room. Before Donovan could respond, the main door burst open and an orange-brown streak flew into the medical lab. Nadia was blown into the main room by Tails' wake and landed on Donovan's lap.
Did you guess? She said. That's why.
Donovan nodded. Are you alright? He asked, setting Nadia on her feet.
Donovan,
Sally's voice came.
You still here? What's happening?
The fox has landed, Donovan said. I'll keep you updated on your sister's progress. Donovan out. Computer, sever communications link. Donovan turned back to Nadia. So, he said, are you ready to tell me what happened in Robotropolis and why you were in Robotnik's room in the first place?
Huh?
Nadia asked.
But how did you know?
Remember, I have most of Robotropolis wired. I know where he has hidden his emeralds.
Nadia sighed. Well, I guess we better start at the beginning.
Just then, a rumbling could be heard from her. She held her stomach and winced.
All of a sudden, I feel weird.
It's called hunger, Donovan said. You need to eat.
I guess that must be it. All these sensations are so unusual. Not at all like I thought it would be.
Donovan stood and walked to his kitchen. You'll get used to it, he said, rummaging through his cabinets.
I don't know if it's worth it, Nadia muttered. I mean, why go get used to it if I'm just going to go back to being a computer?
Back to a computer? Donovan asked, confused. What do you mean?
Well, you already figured out I'm like this because of the life emerald, right? Well, when I give up the emerald...
You'll be bound back to a computer, he finished for her. Great. Just great, he mumbled.
What was that?
I said, I guess that's fate, Donovan lied. I'm afraid I don't have much to offer in the way of food.
I don't know what anything tastes like, so I'll take anything.
Donovan shrugged. He took out 2 cans of beans and dumped their contents into a frying pan. While it was cooking, he walked over to Nadia. Before I forget, he said, first things first. He wrapped his arms around her and hugged her close. Sorry for acting like that when I first saw you, he said.
Nadia stood motionless for a while, then hugged him back. It's okay, she said. After all, you didn't know it was me.
I hate to interrupt this tender moment, the computer said after a few minutes, but shouldn't you be checking on your beans?
Cool. Beans. Cool. Beans.
Donovan pulled away from Nadia reluctantly. Just wanted to hug you while I could, he said, walking back toward the kitchen. Nadia sighed, following him.
I know. I just wanted to like you. Among other things.
Donovan thought about responding to that, then thought better of it. Do I really want to know? He asked himself, spooning the beans into bowls. Then again, maybe I already do. Nadia and Donovan ate in silence, the awkwardness hanging in the air like a physical thing. Donovan tried to concentrate on eating, but his eyes kept going to her. I know the feeling, Donovan. If I had a hot woman right there in front of me eating supper, my thoughts would be on 3 things. First, talking to her and understanding her. Second, her body. Third, how soon can I stop eating so I can appreciate said body later on as we snuggle on the couch? For a moment, he saw the same thought reflected in her eyes. I hope you're full enough, Donovan said after they were finished.
Nadia nodded. My stomach's not bothering me anymore.
Good. Now, there aren't any more interruptions. Do you mind telling me what happened in Robotropolis?
Well, first, I better explain what happened yesterday. Sandra and Tails got the final roboticization gun plan.
And a piece of the ceiling fell down into her back, right? Donovan asked.
How did you... Never mind. Anyway, so you had Uncle Chuck figure out the real plan and make 2 guns.
Why 2?
I'm getting to that. The first ones he used to free Uncle Chuck, to see if the gun could affect animals that were in the roboticizer itself.
Understandable. Continue.
She got the second on my advice. That's why we were in Robotropolis today, the three others.
Which others? Donovan asked, one eyebrow arched. Especially seeing you only had one gun.
Sandra found a Y-shaped tube to make two beams. Our targets were close together, so one shot could get them both. Anyway, we got the room they were being held in.
You went to de-robotize my parents, didn't you? Donovan asked, cutting her off.
Yes, we did.
Are you mad? Donovan asked, raising his voice. Don't you realize that this could affect the race by weakening Robotnik?
Sandra got permission for Knuckles, Nadia said. You think she would have done this without it?
And if Robotnik saw you, he could have claimed you were going after an emerald and did whatever it took to stop you.
She decided to take that risk.
And finally, didn't you think he could have blown them up if he noticed what you were doing?
It wouldn't have mattered anyway.
What do you mean it wouldn't have mattered? Donovan yelled, standing. Well, you two would have been dead too.
I would have disarmed the bombs easily.
Nadia returned, standing and walking until they stood face to face.
That was never a problem. Only problem was that there was no reason to disarm them.
Because
they weren't real,
she screamed, and realized what she just said. She covered her mouth with her hands. They weren't real? Donovan asked, calming down. You fooled me with phonies. I was naive to think he'd actually tell me where they were. I gathered that's why you were in his bedroom. To see if you could find a real location?
Yeah. That's when we found the emerald and you know the rest.
Information? No problem. I'll hack into the system from here. He went to the main room and sat down on his computer.
Nadia stood there for a moment, torn by indecision. If I just, she thought. But he deserves to know. It's better coming from me than him finding it.
Donovan typed away at the keyboard in front of him. Computer, start scanning files for the real location of my parents, he ordered. Very well, the computer said.
Computer, ignore that order,
Nadia said, coming into the room.
I have that information.
Computer, abort last command. Donovan turned around in his seat and looked at her. There better be a good reason why you didn't tell me this before I came in here.
I didn't know how you'd take this,
she said, turning her face away. Spill it.
Your parents, they're,
Nadia, I'm usually a very patient squirrel. However, all these pauses and beating around the bush is starting to tick me off.
They're dead!
She cried, bursting into tears. Donovan chuckled. For a minute there, I thought you said they were dead.
I did.
No, you couldn't have said that. Uh-oh, the computer said softly. If I could move, I'd be out of here. I know you couldn't have said that. That would mean Robotnik double-crossed me.
He never double-crossed you. He was lying from the beginning. He killed your parents before he even took over. Then when he realized you might still be alive, he created replicates to use against you.
What? Donovan asked, not believing his own ears. This can't be happening. He stood up and started pacing. It can't be. You must be mistaken.
I was to the Almighty, I was. But it was all done in his journal. Can your computer access his journal?
Computer, do as he says, Donovan said, barely controlling the anger in his voice.
Looking for the first entry regarding Donovan,
Nadia directed. Entry found, the computer reported. Commencing playback. Donovan listened in silence as he heard Robotnik recount his actions of that day. When it was over, Donovan calmly reached into his vest pocket and pulled on his shades. He walked towards the door, and Nadia could see the red of his eyes even behind his shades. She put her hand on his arms.
Donovan,
she whispered. Let go, he said slowly. Nadia shivered at the heat she heard.
Donovan, think about this.
I said let go! He yelled, pulling away from her. He ran out the front door and activated his rocket boots.
Donovan!
Nadia yelled, running to the door.
Computer, telephone him back here.
I cannot. The chip was on his trench, not his vest.
I had to go after him, she said, but there's no way I could keep up with those boots.
He has another pair in the closet, the computer said after a moment. I could override the voice command to get you there, but you'll have to find another way back. Nadia ran to the closet, took out the boots, and put them on.
Give me 2 of the chips and a communicator,
she said. They're in his trench in the medical lab.
Nadia hurried to the room and fished the items out of his pockets.
What's it for me, Tails?
She said, running outside. But Tails didn't notice she was there. In fact, he hadn't heard a word either she or the entire time he had been there. His only concern was staying by Sandra's side and offering what support he could. Meanwhile, in Robotropolis, Robotnik was busy directing dismantle of his replicants. A pity, he thought, watching as the SWAT-bots just carried away what was left of the robots. I could have used him to find the last emerald. Wait, guys, I just did a proper count, but I think we found it. I think we found that damn fourth Chaos Emerald, because we already found the Earth Emerald, the Water Emerald, and the Fire Emerald.
Try that meme again and see what happens.
You bastard!
A little voice said behind him.
Ah, Donovan,
Robotnik said, turning to face him.
I was wondering when you showed up. I assume the female lynx told you everything that she and the princess had discovered. Tell me, is Sandra with your parents yet?
Donovan lashed out with one hand, backstabbing Robotnik across the face as hard as he could.
You have deceived me, he said. Worse yet, you made me turn against the animals who I once called friends. I've been trying to keep things neutral for the sake of my parents, who I found out today you killed before I even met you. Right now, I don't care about the race. All I care about is watching you meet your maker.
He snarled, reaching for his sword. Robotnik watched in amusement as Donovan realized he didn't have any of his weapons on him. He grabbed Donovan around the throat and lifted him off the ground.
You know, I had considered allowing you to live once I won the race, Robotnik said, but now I think I'll just reunite you with your parents. You'll have to kill me first!
Donovan yelled. Robotnik then smirked and tightened his grip, but his robotic arm malfunctioned, and his hand released instead of tightening.
What the?
Robotnik wondered. Donovan jumped up and kicked Robotnik in the face.
Forget I can't be harmed,
he asked Robotnik as he fell to the floor. He pounced on him and started pounding away on his head. Well, technically, you can't be killed. You can escape any type of emergency. Robotnik tried to cover up.
SWATbot, grab him!
He commanded. Donovan paid no attention to the SWATbot as he reached for him. But before he grabbed him, Nadia flew into the room and tackled it away. She crashed into the other SWATbots just as they were coming to help. The rockets on her boots sputtered and died just as he landed.
Bad luck,
she muttered. Donovan removed one of his gloves as Robotnik lay stunned from all the punches he'd suffered. One of his fingers was on a ring that bore the name Deontay on it. Oh my god, he's about to bitch slap him with his ring hand. He grabbed the stone and twisted it. A sharp spike extended from the stone.
Prepare to die,
Donovan said, placing the spike against Robotnik's throat.
Donovan, no!
Donovan, yes, Nadia screamed.
It's not worth it.
Nadia, leave,
he said, not even looking at her.
Don't do it. Think of what would happen.
He'll be where I should have put him a long time ago.
And chaos will rule Mobius.
Anything is better than allowing him to continue.
Is that what your father would want?
Nadia asked, standing and walking behind him. Donovan's hand started trembling slightly.
Think about it,
Nadia continued.
Do you honestly think your father would rest, knowing that his son was so consumed by vengeance, he could turn all of Mobius to chaos, just so you could have your revenge?
She demanded. Donovan stayed there, hands shaking. Then it stopped, and Nadia was afraid he would go through with it.
Damn you, Nadia,
Donovan said, moving the spike away. Nadia breathed a sigh of relief. Donovan stood and pulled Robotnik to a sitting position, so they were pretty much face to face.
You listen to me, Jillian,
he said, his voice as dark as Robotnik's own heart.
You will lose this race, and just when you think you got away, I'll be there to slice your throat. Do we have an understanding?
Robotnik just stared at Donovan. Can I rewrite this scene for a bit? Smirking. Before finally saying,
You assume you win. I was going to gladly take death. After all, then with me in the end, I would have won.
Donovan pushed away from Robotnik, keeping his eyes on his enemy. He twisted his gun again, retracting the spike, and put his glove on. He grabbed Nadia's hand and ran out the room. Robotnik stood on the other side of the console. He was about to order swarmbots to hunt Donovan down, but a familiar voice stopped him.
I wouldn't do that,
the voice said. Just as he can't kill you. You can't kill him now either. Robotnik scowled and turned away.
This is not over, he swore, stalking from the room.
Once they were out of sight from the room, Nadia stopped Donovan. She placed one of the chips on him and pulled out the communicator. Computer, now, she said. He saw it as the light enveloped them, and they were teleported back to his base. When the light faded, he walked to his room and head bowed. Donovan, Nadia said, walking after him. Donovan sat down on his bed, bent over, hands folded.
I'm sorry for any trouble I could have caused going to Robotropolis like that.
Nadia sat down next to him.
Nothing happened, she said. You were able to stop before anything was done.
Only because you showed up. If you hadn't...
Don't even worry about that. I did, and that's what counts. I'm so sorry you had to find out like this.
Everything was a lie, he said slowly. I spent half my life living a lie.
You were just a kid. You thought you were doing the right thing. I can't fault you for that.
What about the adult? I almost became a traitor. Almost killed everyone for the sake of someone who was already dead.
Nadia saw that Donovan wasn't going to be convinced by anything he said. She started to get up, but something held her back. Looking at him, she felt so many different things that she could do was wrap her arms around him and hug him close. At first, Donovan tried to pull away, but Nadia hugged him tightly and wouldn't let go. Eventually, Donovan just broke down, hugged her, started crying. Nadia sat there, holding him, feeling something in her heart more powerful than anything she had ever dreamed was possible. Nadia pulled back slightly and tilted Donovan's head face up to hers. She took off his shades and started looking in his eyes. Amidst all the anger and pain and hurt she also saw love. Love for her. Without realizing she was doing it, her head slowly lowered to his, her eyes closed. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a long, long time, and time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine? I need your love, I need your love, Godspeed your love to me. At the same time, Donovan's head was going to hers as his eyes closed. Their lips met in a kiss that was gentle at first, but grew more and more passionate as they came into their hearts. They lay back on the bed, only getting interested and closer to each other. Lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the sea, to the open arms of the sea, yeah. Lonely rivers sigh, wait for me, wait for me. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch. A long, lonely time, and time goes by so slowly. Are you so mine? I need your love, I need your love. We would like to personally apologize for the abuse of Unchained Melody, but we're here at the studio realize that song is thus so overly used it has become a cliche. Thank you, and moving on. But what neither realized was that they got far closer than either had ever dared to hope for. Boing! Now, no fair. We have just spent episode after episode after episode after episode after episode of talking about why sex before marriage is a bad thing, why you shouldn't be having sex before marriage, and having our two main couples, i.e., Bunny and Antoine, Sally and Sonic, say, oh, we had to put our life on the line. We had to put our life on the line. To not have sex. Going out of our way to say how dangerous it is to have sex before marriage and to risk getting pregnant. But Donovan starts making out with Nadia, who has only had her body for a few days. And you let them have sex right off the bat? Double standard, dudes. I mean, what do you call this? Personally, I would say using the body while you can. Oh, well, ha, Dinobot. Okay, anybody else got any other robots that have turned to human jokes and sex gags they like to pull out? The rest of the studio doesn't, if only because they all know you have a whole ton of them in a bag somewhere. Yep, and only because of the sake of dignity have I not used them. A few hours later, Donovan awoke. Oh, thank God! He stretched and noticed that someone or something was holding him. He looked down and saw Nadia with her head on his chest, snuggling into him. At first, he just put an arm around her and smiled. Then he realized that they were in his bed, under the covers. And the covers were a mess. Donovan started to lift the cover hand. Then he noticed that both his clothes and hers were on the floor. I guess it wasn't a dream, he thought. Nadia, he said softly. Oh, give me a break. This is either A, this is double standards, or B, for some odd reason, it's perfectly A-okay for Nadia and Donovan to go without any repercussions, but Sonic and Sally and Bunny and Antoine need this whole entire multi-episode arc to discuss this? No. Nadia, he said softly. Nadia stirred at the sound of her own name. Yes, Donovan? She asked, looking up at him. Donovan smiled again. How are you doing? Absolutely perfect, she said, kissing his chest. So you realize what happened? Well, yes. There was a wild and crazy sex scene and I missed it. Especially with lynxes. Darn you. Something like this isn't easy to forget. So, what are we going to do now? He asked, stroking her head. Put a new port into her console? Ow! Jonathan, I know I have to go back to Mana. Once I give up the emerald, I'll be playing on Nadia again. You'll never be playing to me. Nadia smiled and blushed. Well, you know, holograms are getting better. I mean, please see the doctor on Voyager. Ow! But until then, I want to spend every moment I have left with you. In every way I can. I don't regret for an instant what we've done. I will carry the knowledge of what we shared forever. It'll be enough to get me through anything. In that case, let's make the most of this night. I love you, Nadia. I love you, Jonathan. Merry Christmas. Huh? It is Christmas Eve, isn't it? I couldn't give you the gift I wanted, but I don't think you'll complain. You're enough of a gift for me, he said, kissing her. Nadia returned his kiss, and once more they lost themselves. Oh my God, they're going for round 2. No, 3. No, whoa! I guess she isn't out of practice after all. What did she do? Download the entire Kama Sutra before she became
became an animal? Oh my god, you guys are missing out! Wow!
The next morning, Christmas morning, Sandra began to stir.
Sandra?
Tails asked, standing up.
Sandra's eyes blinked open.
Miles? You look terrible, she choked. I stayed up all night with you. How are you feeling?
Although I can't imagine it was easy to sleep with Nadia and Donovan going at it as about as much as a photo shoot out on Bellicilla Films.
About as bad as you look, but I can manage.
She sat up and looked around.
Where are we, anyway?
You're in Donovan's main base. The computer said, I see your recovery is going quite well.
How did I get here?
Sandra wondered aloud.
Last thing I remembered, I was running out of Robotropolis with Life Emerald. Donovan must have found you, Tails said.
Actually, you owe Nadia more, the computer pointed out.
Nadia? Where is she?
Sandra asked, looking around for her computer.
With Donovan. I suggest you knock before entering his room.
If he's messing with her programming,
Sandra began, getting out of bed shakily.
Easy,
Tails said, supporting her.
You're not fully healed yet.
I'll be okay. Just a little stiff.
You'll never learn.
Tails muttered. With his help, Sandra managed to get to the door to Donovan's room. Tails knocked on it, but there was no answer.
Maybe he's still asleep.
Don't care. I want my computer back. Sandra placed her hand on the doorknob and started to turn it.
You'll be sorry, the computer said.
Sandra opened the door and stepped inside.
Donovan, I want...
she began before letting her voice trailed off. Donovan was in bed, holding a female lynx in his arms. Both were fast asleep. And Sandra noted the pile closed by the bed.
I don't believe it,
she yelled. Yeah, me neither. They go on for episodes having Sonic be all chaste and pure, but Donovan is perfectly okay to go at it. I'm just saying, you have two characters that should be chaste and would actually believe in no sex before marriage, and you picked the wrong two! It should be Sonic and Donovan are okay with sex before marriage, but Antoine not. Pay attention to characterizations, all I'm saying! Both Donovan and Nadia were startled awake.
Hi, Sandra,
Nadia said.
Yeah, hi, Sandra, Donovan said.
Who is this?
Sandra asked, pointing at Nadia.
And where's Nadia?
You just answered your own question, Donovan said.
Excuse me? Sandra, it's me. When you got shot, the Life Emerald fell on me and, well, you know.
Both Sandra and Tails were shocked. I think you two should leave while these other two get dressed, the computer suggested. And babe, they probably stink to high heaven right now. Sandra and Tails hurried out to close the door. Nadia and Nadia came out a few minutes later, looking much more at ease now that they were dressed.
I don't want to hear it,
Sandra, when Nadia started to explain.
I just want to get home. You can tell me about it on the way.
Must we go right now? Nadia asked.
I mean, now,
Sandra said simply.
I know for a fact that everyone's worrying about me and Tails. It's not good to worry on Christmas, assuming I was out only one day.
You were,
Tails said. You're right, we better head back.
You coming, Donovan? Nadia asked. Donovan just looked at Nadia. I don't think I could handle it right now, he said, a tear falling from his eye. Nadia kissed the tear away.
I understand.
She turned and walked out the door. Sandra and Tails right behind her. Oh, and like tradition, getting through the fourth emerald took the longest. No, seriously. Every time I've tried to get a fourth emerald on an emerald run in any Sonic game, the fourth one is always the toughest. And oh god, I just realized Sonic Frontiers is going to have me do multiple emerald runs and I'm going to have to try to get through the fourth one. Pray for me, folks. Donovan slipped in his chair. Donovan, the computer asked, sounding worried. Donovan folded his arms on the console and put his head on him. He started crying. The computer, not knowing what to say, shut itself off. Some time passed. Donovan wasn't sure how long he cried. He might have been like that all day if he had not felt a hand on his shoulder.
I felt your anguish,
A soft Aint's voice said.
I'm here if you need to talk.
Donovan looked up and saw Thomas's kindly face smiling down on him.
It was all a lie,
he said between his tears.
I know,
Thomas said.
I have known, but could not say anything. Once you made that deal with Robotnik, I had to stand aside and let the events play out as Almighty tended. Can you forgive me for not telling you?
You practically raised me, Thomas. You took me in when you didn't have to. You sent me to someone who could help me, and you didn't have to. If anything, I hope you could forgive me for the path I took.
I am not the ones you have wronged,
Thomas said.
I need no apology, but there are others who are owed it and need an explanation.
Donovan sighed. The freaking fires. I will give them that apology and that explanation, but not today. I can't face them yet. He stood up and started walking out the room, soldier salute.
Poor Donovan, Thomas said. If only you understood. The best time to face this is when you feel you can't.
A time when I'll either break down or lash out? I don't want a chance of that.
My boy, you have no choice.
Donovan stopped and straightened up. He turned to face Tannis and saw him chanting. He stared for only a second and started to run. Donovan was stopped short by a wall of air that rose up around him.
No!
Donovan yelled as he was transported to Knothole. When the winds died down, he found himself facing Sally, Sandra, and Lydia. All three were sitting at a table facing him. I'll leave now, Sally said, running out the door. Donovan noticed that he carried a life emerald with him. Do-do-do-do! Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Sonic got the life emerald. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, continue. Great, Donovan, Sally said. I assume you're here to ask her for actions?
Nice one, Thomas,
Donovan muttered.
I hope you don't mind, Sandra began, but Nadia broke her promise. She told us everything that happened.
As far as what? Donovan asked.
What happened with Robotropolis and those replicants, Lydia said.
We are truly sorry for your losses. Thanks, Linda, Donovan said, even though it doesn't help this Inquisition.
You're right there, Sally said.
You know what you've done and why you've done it,
but that doesn't change the fact that what was done. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Nothing, Donovan said simply. Just do what you're going to do, silly. Get it over with.
Lydia, if you would.
Lydia got up from her place and walked to him.
Your sword, Donovan,
she said, holding her hand out. I don't have it, Donovan said.
Oh no, then what's that at your side?
Donovan looked down. A very familiar sword hung at his side, one he had not seen in almost 8 years. My father's sword, he said, drawing it. This is indeed a low blow, Thomas. He flipped the sword and held the hilt out to Lydia.
Nin,
she said, tugging the sword. Donovan went down on his knees, and Lydia bent his head forward. She raised the sword high above her head and brought it down forcefully. The tip of the sword passed no more than 2 inches from Donovan's neck.
I have no right to pass judgment.
Well, his actions never directly affected me, she said. Sally stood up and walked over to Lydia. Lydia gave the sword and stepped aside. Sally raised the sword high above her head and brought it down as much as her husband had. Only this time, the tip was an inch from his neck. I'm not versed in all the particulars of this case, as I am not one you trusted with them, she said. Therefore, I too cannot pass judgment. Sandra stood and approached Sally. She took the sword from her sister and raised it high above her head.
I know everything, and I know you, she said. Therefore, it is my hand that will deliver the judgment.
How ironic, Donovan muttered.
There we go. There's the whole entire comparison with Fall. We have a character who's redeeming himself, facing a trinity of the princesses. Are we sure you never thought about this fic or any Sonic-related story while writing Foe.
Again, people just need to ask me. I'll tell them if I think anything was inspired by Sonic and the rest. Sandra slammed the tip of the sword so fast the blade whisked through the air. The tip grazed onto his neck, drawing blood in a straight, thin line.
This is your punishment, she said. From now on, the scar left by my strike will remind you of your actions.
You're letting me live? Donovan asked, surprised.
Donovan,
compared to Dorian, what you did was minimal. You did like one bad thing. You spent the rest of the story helping them.
Of course, Sandra said, smiling.
The only people who would be really complaining would be those jerks who still think Zuko needs to answer for his crimes and still hate Starlight.
You confided in me more in everything that drove you to do what you did. I understand and I forgive you. Besides, knowing you like you do, you've probably punished yourself over this more than enough. Now get up.
Donovan stood up, wiping away the blood on his neck.
You're free to stay if you want, Sally said, smiling. Now you don't have to keep the balance. Would you mind becoming a freedom fighter yourself?
Thanks for the offer, he said, accepting his sword back from Sandra. But no thanks. I still have work to do. Besides, staying around here brings up too many unpleasant memories.
Unpleasant? Lydia asked, all painful.
You know what I mean. He turned around to leave.
Too bad, Sandra said, smiling at the others. I know someone who'd love to have you hang around.
Donovan ignored that remark and kept going. He opened the door and started to step outside when he was tackled from the outside. He hit the floor, rolling with his attacker, not sure what was going on, but not really caring. But all that changed when his attacker spoke.
Hey there, squad boy.
Donovan's eyes popped open wide in surprise and shock. He looked up and saw it was Nadia who was pinning him down. What? He stammered.
You look like you've seen a ghost,
she said, kissing his nose. Nadia? Donovan asked, sitting up. But I just saw Quills leaving with the emerald. Perhaps I can explain, Knuckles said, stepping out of nowhere. When one absorbs the power of an emerald, as Miss Evergreen did, it is usually temporary. However, in the case of the Shadow and Knife Emeralds, they tend to leave lasting marks. Nadia has absorbed some of the Knife Emerald's magic, and thus will remain alive indefinitely. Indefinitely? Donovan asked. Oh, she won't remain alive forever, but then none of us do. As near as I can tell, she has been completely and permanently transformed into a lynx. It'll take some getting used to for her, and some time for her body to begin and regulate all bodily functions, but I say within a month she'll be no different from Sadie or Sandra. Donovan just looked at Nadia, who smiled brightly. He took her in his arms and hugged her tight.
Nadia hugged him back, crying. I think we have a lot to plan out, she said. That is, if you'd have me.
That's a stupid statement, Donovan said. Let's go home.
Donovan stood up and picked Nadia up in his arms, and carried her outside and flew off. Sandra watched him go with a sad smile. Don't be strangers, she called after them.
They won't,
Nadia called back, waving. Merry Christmas, you two.
Sandra is probably both happy for them, but at the same time, really miffed that she now is -1 computer.